Hey, everyone. So we're just going to give everyone a chance to get here, and then we'll start the ceremonial sharing of the live video, and then we'll start the discussion in a few minutes. So let me go so that I can tag. Here we go. Michael. Oops, I got to start that over.
All right.
So, Michael, you're geographically close enough to me that we sometimes have similar weather. Is it storming up there?
It's cloudy, but I can see some blue sky.
So, interestingly enough, every single Tuesday that we've done this, it has been thunderstorms here.
Really?
Yep. So I have tagged both of you in a comment, both Michaels and the Maiyas, and we have 14 people watching already. So welcome. We're going to start the official discussion in about 5 to 7 minutes. Let me do some sharing myself here. Let's share my story. Let's share two of my. Oops, it's taking a little sweet time here. Share to a page. Somebody say something. Well, can anybody share and talk at the same time? I'm not good at it, but maybe one of you guys is better than me.
No.
Everything's
in the way when I'm trying to. Man.
I know. We're technologying, Dan.
I know. We're gonna pretend that we're not Luddites here and actually know what we're doing.
I can't even.
It's all good.
Somebody's talking.
Yeah, we got some comments. I saw. I'm not looking at them right now, but I know I've seen some comments. I'm gonna share to.
Stephanie's here. It's a party.
Yeah, I was hoping she'd join us. You know how I feel about her. And what's that, Michael? What's that, Michael?
What's what?
Wasn't that you that said, "Oh Lord"?
Yeah, but I don't know if I said it in real time or if it was that obnoxious feedback loop that I was saying it in. I couldn't even tell you which one it was.
Let's see.
Ooh, is there a YouTube link? Is that your wife that posted the link, the YouTube reference?
There might be. Yeah, there's a YouTube link once we go live. I never really mess with the YouTube, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. If you see here.
All right.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's see if we got everybody. Maiya Winston shared. Michael Bland.
I still got one to go. So
okay.
I gotta switch to the other account.
I shared on both.
Okay. I haven't shared from my other account yet.
I appreciate the feedback.
So.
Daniel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Michael.
I don't see a share in my comments on my other account, like not my main account, but the other one.
I don't know why that would be, but I can tag you again. You just need the smaller account.
Yeah,
I can do that. Let's do it again. Sorry, just give me a second to get back to that page. Oops. So you should see it again now.
Okay, ding, that was you. Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, let me go and.
Okay,
I'm gonna sort this out once more.
Yay.
So,
yay, I found it on YouTube too. So I'm going to share it to LinkedIn. Like
nice. If people comment, if people comment on YouTube, then we can actually see the comments here. It does come through. It's just,
cool.
Yeah, I can only process so much at once. So for everybody who's just joining us, this is our normal start process. We go live a few minutes early to give all of us a chance to share from all of our different profiles and give people a chance to get here. And again, we pretend that we're technologically savvy. Maiya probably is, but Michael and I are definitely, Luddites. So Michael, did you do the other one? I didn't go look.
It looks like it's here.
Okay. Well, we can get started then. Let's take some pictures down so we can see everybody. Let's see here. There's everybody. And I can take this comment down. So welcome to Music Politics. Is that, how should I pronounce it, Michael?
Music Politics.
Music Politics. And this is, I think, our 6th episode. And it's a special episode, milestone July 7th. And I'm going to introduce my co-host, who is one of my favorite musicians and one of my favorite people. Just a brilliant individual about music and a brilliant individual about really any issue that he puts his mind to. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Bland.
Hey. And on my far left, or right, hails from Madison, Wisconsin. Killed COVID. Killed an organ every Sunday. The church be asking, is that a new white boy we got on the organ or not? You look like a new person when you came out, man. They have to stop calling you half dead Newman and start calling you whole living Newman.
Actually, and the story, the where that story came from is I still looked half dead. That's why they didn't recognize me.
They said to him when he showed up for Sunday church after being on the COVID diet, did we hire another white boy to play at the morning service? Was that a different white boy? All right, well, let's get into it, man. I didn't mean to quote Chris Cuomo.
That's connect on that glasses sponsor idea. Like, legit, I know somebody that knows somebody.
I know some people too, so we'll.
I know you know people.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody know a little somebody.
So, very, very excited to have our guest this week, Maiya Winston. You may have heard of her because she was first shouted out during our 3rd or 4th episode that had the great Tiffany Hobbs.
Tiffany forgot we were even online with her. Ooh, hey, girl. Ooh, man.
And Tiffany shouted her out. And Michael and I have had a chance to get to know her since that time. We both connected with her and have had an opportunity to see a little bit of a window into who she is and what she does. But I don't actually feel like I know enough to give you a formal introduction. So can you give us a bit of a formal introduction?
I thought we bonded the other day, Dan.
I mean, yes, but I don't. Right. I was going to say that was, they don't need to know all our business, Maiya.
Girl, that was a whole 19 hours ago.
No. So, hi. So hi, hello. That just sent me. Tiffany's amazing, and I love her. She's everything. Hi, I'm Maiya Winston. I am a mentor, coach, consultant. I'm also a corporate American by day. Social vigilante of sorts by night, kind of, sort of, in a way we can get into later. So I have a company called Be a Possibility, and that is at Be a Possibility, BeaPossibility.com. I spell it like that in all of my videos that I do, and people come to expect it, so that is why I do it for you all.
But you went so quick with it.
I don't even think about it anymore.
That was incredible.
I spelled it wrong. I commented up and spelled it wrong.
See, he's white.
No, you didn't. That's right. No, you're right. You did. You missed the letter.
Right.
BAPOSSIBILITY. Mr. L. It's all
White
there.
people don't spell that fast.
I keep doing it. Did I get it right that time?
Yes.
Okay.
You did.
Good.
Appreciate you. Thank you. And so what I do is provide coaching and support to people who have goals that they've always dreamed of doing and don't know where to start, and they overwhelm themselves and they do nothing. So what I do is gently take your hand and we sit down and we work out a detailed plan that does not overwhelm you. And then as you move through it, I lovingly keep my foot in your behind to make sure that you do it and provide you with accountability. Because a lot of people may have grand plans and they get started and they get bored with it, or it gets to be a bit too much and then they stop. And there's no one there who's behind them saying either you can do it or what do you need to keep going. So that is something that I help to provide to people. I also help small business owners get started, get going. Also provide motivational and training workshops for people in corporate America, the forgotten levels in corporate America. And we can get into that also. That was part of what Dan and I briefly touched on about classism, especially as it relates to the corporate sector. I have been in the insurance industry since 2004 in various capacities. Right now, work in corporate diversity, so I'm having the most fun ever. In the last month or so, with everyone now realizing, oh wait, there's a race problem in America. We should talk about this. So yeah, that's what I do. That's the Cliff Notes version.
That sounds like a lot.
Yes. I'm an LA girl living in Dallas, born, raised, educated, and priced out of LA. Yeah, and I live outside of Dallas. Huh?
You eat meat?
I eat chicken. I eat turkey, I eat fish, and what else do I eat? I like bison a lot.
So this was, were you going to segue into barbecue if she ate barbecue? Is that where you were going with that?
So Michael commented on my food that I posted. So I cook a little bit. That's kind of an artistic release for me, is cooking. So that's something that I kind of do, not professionally or for money, but that's something that I kind of do. But the food conversation. So living in Texas, I don't eat beef. I'm allergic to it. When I turned 30, I stopped being able to eat beef. Just my body said, no, thank you. Yeah, no, do not want, can't, no, you will get sick.
And you don't eat pork, so that leaves barbecue out. I don't eat pork
just because it was just never like a big thing to me.
Okay.
I was gonna say if you cook
barbecue.
Yeah, I figured Michael was going there. Wow. Michael and I had a barbecue discussion earlier today. But
well, though, they smoke a good turkey down here.
What's the famous place? What's the famous turkey leg place that was in the news a few months ago? Do you know what I'm talking about?
What, Turkey Leg Hut or whatever?
Maybe that was it.
Turkey Leg Hut. I love it.
Let's get this out of the way. So I have a thing about this new trend of all these overly sauced, decorated turkey legs. Don't do it. Not a fan of it. I'm not big on like excessive amounts of sauce and cheeses and things. Moderation is fine, and you shouldn't be drowning whatever your original ingredient is in a sauce to the point where it's unrecognizable.
So real quick, I want to tie the two topics together if we can. So in your work in corporate America, have you ever worked for a restaurant chain or a corporate, restaurant franchise or anything like that?
I have not worked in food service, but I have worked retail on both the corporate side and the front end side. And I actually had a recent retail experience this year going into COVID, which kind of was very interesting to see both sides of business, how people are prioritized, how essential workers are really treated, how they're considered, and just getting into that. And that really leads into a lot of the work that I'm starting to do and develop now as it relates to classism, especially how class was so clearly defined once we turned into shelter in place, because it became an issue of who can shelter in place and whose life is not worth them not going to work. Your livelihood do we pay you to keep you safe and then figure it out? Or do we tell you to keep coming in and then we'll just kind of figure it out as we go? And if you get sick, figure it out, get your own help, or you can make the choice to not work anymore, but we're not going to make that concession for you. So I don't know if you wanted me to get into that whole story or where you want to go with that.
I definitely want to hear more about that. I just,
okay.
If we want to close out the food topic before we move back into the serious thing.
I'm all about food.
She's ready to get into it, man.
Okay, let's go.
Talk about Maiya's here. Her time is valuable. She didn't dial up here to talk about turkey legs and whatnot.
I'm all up. Listen, I am not going to shy away from a food topic. I am not. And I will give you this much, Michael. When I go to Louisiana to visit my cousins, one in particular, who will not allow me, where? Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Who will not allow me to not eat pork in his house. He's like, I don't care. You're going to eat this.
So Michael knows my god sister. Holly used to live in Baton Rouge and Shreveport. Okay. So just anyhow. So brief food thing, and then we'll move on. So best city to eat in the U.S., Chicago or New Orleans?
New Orleans.
Michael?
You can't whoop New Orleans, man.
I feel like it's close. I feel like between the whole breadth of things you can
like. You from Madison, Wisconsin. So you anything in a bun, you like your pizza, the crust got to be this thick for you to get down, and it's got to be a rectangle.
Rectangle's Detroit style.
Oh,
well,
right. Okay.
I like New York thin crust. I like Chicago stuffed. I do like the Detroit style rectangle, but I mean, okay, that was all I wanted to go.
New Orleans, man, are you kidding me?
Those two are neck and neck, if you ask me. At least in the U.S.
That's one neck and no neck to me.
Okay,
I've been to Chicago, man. Maybe I just didn't go to the right place, but the only place I'll eat in Chicago, unless it's just some crazy fast food, is Harold's. I'll go to Harold's and get some chicken.
The majority of places in Chicago that are amazing are little holes in the wall like Harold's.
Harold's is a hole in the wall, yeah.
You know, whether it's Johnny's Beef or I'm trying to think of the famous Chicago steak sandwich place, or I mean that's what Chicago is got all. But I mean, Gene's Po' Boy in New Orleans is another hole in the wall. That's some of the best food I ever had in New Orleans.
This is what I'm talking about. You get off of the sandwich concept. The hoagie eliminate that from your.
Okay.
Get away from that. You talk about. I mean, first off, New Orleans. So you got the best of French cooking and soul food. How you gonna whoop that, man? It's refined, but it's street. It's spicy, but not hot. Lord have mercy. You got to be. Well, no. Maiya is clearly a young person, so she can appreciate it. So can you. I'm the old guard here.
Oh, I can appreciate it. Trust me. I don't even want to tell you the last time I spent a week in New Orleans. I don't even want to tell you how much I spent on food, but
it was worth it.
It was worth it. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I could have rented a nice house for what I.
Here's where your argument just has complete holes in it, and I'm gonna tell you why there's no comparison. Here you go. I went to a football game in New Orleans. I go to the concession stand. You know what they had at the concession stand? Po' boys, fried fish, fried chicken, like seafood. I go to a baseball game in Chicago. Hot dogs, nachos. Come on, dude.
I mean, yeah, because you went to a baseball game in Chicago. You know, you should expect Chris Farley and his, you know, and what's the Bill Brewski and the.
Like, even when it's casual, it's still that level of time and talent put into the food. You can't even compare the two cities.
You can, and the next time either of you guys comes to Chicago, I'll take you some places. But I mean, I can't argue with the greatness of New Orleans now, and I think
can. My friend Icky, hey Icky James, how you doing, man? I see you, man. He's on here talking about shrimp etouffee.
I know.
There is no comparison to Chicago versus New Orleans. He said that. What else you say, Icky Jane? Okay.
Okay, so
all right.
So
Tiffany
back to what
knows.
I mean, Tiffany would fight me over New Orleans. I know that. She would physically fight over New Orleans. So
wait a minute. So let's go ahead and tune it up for Maiya, because Maiya has important things to do
right
after this. We're just shucking and jiving and messing with her time like this. I'm sorry, Maiya.
Drink wine and take a nap. That's what I got to do after this.
Yes, okay. Well, that's something to do. That doesn't involve us. So let's go ahead and get into it, because my questions are like this.
Y'all can drink wine and chat with me too, but go ahead.
I wait until after this, and then I just let it all turn into chocolate pudding.
There you go.
My question is this. Now, it seems like the studies have all said that corporations benefit from having diversity in their upper level management. Why are they still so defiant and upset? Like why do they fight it if it's better for business?
Because it is not what they are used to. It is not the foundation that corporations are built upon. It is not the tradition. It is not what they set out to be. And that is an overhaul of culture and systems that then considers people who do not look like what the original founders, starters, incorporators of said corporation were, to then join the ranks and to also be included and considered equals and equitable parts of those systems. That's an overhaul of everything that we've known to be. And wait, we have to let you in and tell you how we make this money. And we have to include you, and you get to have shares and maybe pass it down to your legacy and bring more people that look like you into the ranks also. That's not what we do here.
See, this is why I know Tiffany and Maiya are tight, because she just continued to make the point about white supremacy and capitalism being complicit, or they work together.
Yeah.
Tiffany drove that point home, and you just took it a little notch further for us. Yes, and this is another way in which it works against us.
So it's not called white supremacy in corporate culture. It's called corporate culture.
Change the name, do the same thing. Remove the headstone so you can't see where the body's at.
You're not a fit. You're talented.
And we never meant to fit. We never meant to have you. Right.
You're not quite a cultural fit for the leadership team at this time.
Oh boy, that's what they say.
Well, there are some things you need to work on before you can advance or develop yourself into a role such as this.
Are they really saying you ain't gonna get no shot?
Yeah.
So do the people making the decisions in these examples, are they consciously aware that it is actually beneficial, and then subconsciously, or are they not? Are they just, they don't believe the studies that show that it's actually commercially viable and profitable, or is the whole thing subconscious, or where is there a conscious awareness and where isn't there within the process?
So one of the hot things to do in diversity is have unconscious bias training. And so what that is you sit down, you take a class, and you make people aware of things that are their unconscious bias. And you're giving them tips and tools and tricks so that they are calling it out within themselves so that they can amend their behavior, and then are making better choices and not being racist, sexist, classist jerks.
What's the
and building a more equitable place? So that is the hot thing to do.
Does it work?
Uh-huh.
Does it work?
Depends on the person. Do you want it to work? Are you looking to change, or are you looking to check a box? We're getting to that for a second. To Dan's question about do they not believe the studies? So if I told you that, you know what, investing in stocks and bonds is the way you're going to grow your money, and I show you a chart, is that going to change your mind automatically, Dan? Or is that just like, okay, that's good information to have, but maybe it's not for me? Okay. Mm-hmm. So until I show you specifically how Dan's money is going to grow through an investment and a change in Dan's behavior, Dan is usually not going to get the point. So a lot of the time, and one of the things that I work on and one of the things that I'm trying to get better at as I continue to do my work is learning how to tell the story of diversity in the language of business, which is numbers and money. Because you can make somebody cry, you can make them feel good, you can make them go, oh, Black people are amazing. But if you don't show them how having a diverse workforce, how it will improve your customer satisfaction, your customer reputation score in the marketplace, how it will diversify and strengthen the amount of loyalty from your employees when they see themselves reflected through every level of your organization, and seeing that I can aspire to that because I see that someone else has done it, which is, shameless plug, be a possibility. That's really what my company is about, achieving your goals so that somebody can look to you and say, you know what, they did it, I can do it too. But in a corporate setting, okay, I can be a VP because there are Black, brown, green, yellow VPs. And so it's not just only white people at that level. So I feel like I can aspire to that, as opposed to no matter how hard I work, it's not going to happen for me. So until, and as tedious as it sounds, until you can individually show each corporation and each CEO who has not committed to a change in behavior and culture within corporate America, how it specifically benefits them to have a diverse workforce that represents and reflects what is happening on the bottom half as well as the top half, as well as how it can improve their reputation within the consumer base, it's not gonna happen. I don't care how many studies you write. Until you make it make sense to me, I'm not gonna do it.
I got you. I get that. Go
ahead, Michael.
No, I was just, he put up James Ryan's question from 720.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
How about insurance companies never telling Black folks about dividend paying policies? It's a leg up system that allows white folks to have that initial money for their kids to go to college. Okay.
Because most insurance companies, and I'm going to put this in the terms of, so you're talking life insurance versus like a property and casualty, which is most of my background. So excuse me, I had to put some sugar in my mouth, trying to keep my energy up. So as far as life insurance, it's going to be very rare, and I'm speaking in generalizations, this does not apply to every life insurance agent, but you very rarely have one who is so invested in the customer base that they're explaining the benefits of each type of policy versus I'm trying to make my numbers for the month. And so whatever it's going to take, if I can get them in with this low premium just so I can make my numbers for the month so that I can make my books and keep my, get my commissions, I'm just going to sell them whatever policy it is, as opposed to actually explaining and educating my customer and setting them up for success long term. I just need to make my books because the company said they're going to retract my contract for me to sell their product if I don't hit a certain number of policies this month. That's short, easy answer.
Absolutely.
You rarely get people who are going to educate you on the product and give you the one, even if it costs a little more, this is what your benefit is on the back end versus, well, if you're going to find and run me this check before the end of the month for this one product, because that's the one you think looks best, then that's what I'm going to sell you.
What I found interesting about you already, just in this few minutes, is that everything you say is, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it can be applied in every facet, every quadrant of human existence.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the problem of race in this country. Like, everything you say, like the way you present your concepts is so fluid that you could be talking about anything. Who made you like that? It did.
That's how I understand the world.
You understand it in its totality, not in.
I taught myself to. I have to make it make sense to me. So if you're talking to me for a period of time, you come to know that I speak in analogies, and that is because I have to make something make sense to me, and so I need to relate it back so that I better understand the concept. But also, in the event that I need to explain whatever it is to someone else, I can do that.
Yes, you can. Have you run across are you in the process now of understanding something on a greater level that you can give me a peek into?
Just generally?
It don't matter. I'm just curious about how your brain is working.
Oh,
like,
my business.
Yes.
Strategy and like calculating and investment versus and approaching things long term as an investment, as opposed to looking at it as a loss up front, looking at it long term as an investment that is going to benefit me further down the line, and not being short-sighted in, okay, if I spend $500 on this right now, I'm down $500, as opposed to this is an investment to help you make $5,000 down the road. There's a question here that's very interesting.
The Dan Schmidt one?
Dan Schmidt. No, it's not outlawed for a African American or Black person. And in the future, please capitalize the A in Afro if you're going to do that. To open a business. Of course not. No, correct. No, there are a whole bunch of Black-owned businesses. Oodles and scads, if you will. If you're looking for one, they're all over the Facebook, all over the internet. So no, I'm not sure where you're going with that. But no, it is not illegal or outlawed for Black people to open a business.
It's just a little harder depending on who you know.
It is and it isn't. So,
okay.
It is and it isn't. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on how you want to do it. It depends on what your goals are. I'm big on goals because that's going to drive your behavior. That's going to drive your actions. That's going to drive your results. If you're trying to flip it and make some quick money, that's one thing. You're going to do something, you make your money, you're out. If you're looking to build your legacy, if you're looking to build longevity, you're going to move differently.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is when your goals, your strategy comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back real quick to the example that we were talking about a few minutes ago when you were talking about corporate America and diversity, and I think you were actually responding to a question about diversity studies, and you said that that there has to be a mechanism to show how it's beneficial on every level to
Mm-hmm.
make those changes. Can you, without naming names, or even with naming names, if you want to and if you can you give an example of a success story, and can you give you an example of when the worst case scenario?
I'm trying to think like best case scenario. I don't think I've seen a best case scenario yet. I have seen some organizations where people feel like they are valued. They feel as though they do have true opportunity to advance and to grow within an organization without getting caught up in the politics of carrot dangling. Of if you just do this, or if you just act this way, or if you just get this certification, then maybe we'll consider you moving up, or maybe we'll consider you as soon as something opens up, versus actual dedicated, okay, here's what I'm going to do for you in 6 months. I just need you to keep performing, keep showing up, keep doing the great work that you're doing. So specifics, I can't, off top, I can't give you an exact, even scenario where it's like, this is working perfectly and they've got it, because nobody has it perfect yet. Mm-hmm. Nobody has it down to a science or a system that I am aware of. As far as worst case scenarios, what happens is so let's run that back and then we'll go to Jason's question, which is interesting.
I was definitely going to put that up when you were done.
Well, because had I not cut you off earlier in the evening, we could have gotten to that. Sorry about that.
I'm saying y'all got me for hours. Worst case scenario. And so before we get into all that, let's talk about, a quick ABCs of diversity, of corporate diversity. We'll do some quick ABCs here. So, and it's not in order. So, sue me, whatever. Diversity is a range of people, types of people. Right now, if you were just to glance at this is a diverse panel, because you got woman of color, man of color, man of majority, or white man.
Cool. On camera, went the exact opposite, which was funny to me.
I know, right? So, yes, diverse panel. So, inclusion. We're having a conversation, Michael, and we include Dan. We don't necessarily let him talk, but we let him stand there to listen to us talk. Mm-hmm. He's included. And we're diverse, and he's included. So that's diversity, inclusion. Belonging. Belonging is when a company takes it a step further and goes, we want to make sure everybody's comfortable while they're here. So we have the diversity, they're included. We want to make sure you're comfortable in the space. Then you get into equity, which is what is really needed before you even do the rest of that. Equity is diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. That is, we're all having a conversation. We all have equal say in that conversation. We all have a place and are heard, and our voices matter within the conversation. That's equity. So that's your quick AB. So if you see like D&I, DEI, DEIB, all the rest of A, B, C, D, E, F, G in diversity terms, that's usually what it's broken down to. So your diversity.
Okay.
Back to your question about worst case scenario is when you have people say, well, we're diverse. And that's because they check the box and they have a Black person here, a Black person there, a Latino person there, an Asian person there. They're there, but
what are they doing?
Are they belonging? Or do they have an equitable space there? Not necessarily, but they're there and they check the box. So when you do that, some places then say if that person does not feel included, even though they were a diverse candidate or a diverse hire, and they leave, that person is used as an example of, well, we gave them a chance and it didn't work. So, I mean, you keep telling me to I hire them and they don't stay because you're not giving them an equitable voice within the environment. They are not feeling as though they belong. And in extreme cases, they are not being included. So that's kind of worst case scenario.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that happening. Either before we go back to the COVID question, Jason's question, or later, Tiffany Danielle asked a really good question too. Do you want to look at that now, or should we come back to that later?
Can we get? Well, sorry.
No, Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
I happen to know Jason, and I feel bad about what happened. Can we get that out of the way?
Yes, let's go ahead.
The questions you push off are the ones we're going to forget about.
Okay.
Yes. So Jason, yes. So I was working a retail job part-time, and I started in January of this year. And so it was just, after hours, just trying to knock out some bills just to do it. Nothing fancy, busting boxes at a big retailer. So was there, not secretive about the fact that I had another job, but didn't walk in there as, I do all this. No, I'm here to do this and go home. Like, that's what it is. Met coworkers, very nice. Do the work, that's fine. And I like to say, as I was working there, I had a front row seat to the downfall of society as COVID started to take a wash over the U.S. From the time of unloading trucks and putting products on the shelves to then having people come in, and if I'm unloading hand sanitizer, to have them grabbing it out of my hands, to have them taking boxes away from me, to have them not respecting 6 feet of space, to have them being rude to me and talking down to me, because all you're supposed to be doing is, stocking these shelves and getting out of my way. And why don't you have what I need? I need everything that you don't have on the shelf. Why don't you have it? Where is it coming from? Try to ignore that as best as possible and just keep it moving. Got a notification. So the store increased its safety precautions over time and started to make people wear masks. And by people, I mean the employees, not the customers. Customers were not required to wear a mask, but the employees were required to wear a mask while we were emptying trailers full of freight. We were still required to wear masks in a hot storeroom, people telling us they couldn't turn the fan on while we're back there trying to work in the middle of the day and unload a freight truck and then go back on the sales floor and unload the inventory. We had to then start get tested before we were coming in, temperature check, have you been sick, all the rest of this. Customers still not being screened, customers still not respecting the space, getting in your face. And I came into work one day and a coworker had heard from another coworker who had heard from HR that someone who worked in the store had COVID-19. I had just seen the store manager. He did not mention it to me. No one else in the store of authority had mentioned it to me as a person who had been potentially exposed. And so I went to the store manager and said, hey, why am I hearing second and third hand that I may have been exposed to COVID? And so he pulls out a little press release that the corporate office had prepared for him and read it to me word for word and said, okay, do you have any questions? I said, why did I have to come to you to hear about this? Oh, well, I had as many meetings as I thought I needed to with people earlier in the week. And so, I knocked out as many people as possible. Said, number one, I didn't work on the days you had your notification meetings. 2, there should have been a better way to notify people of a potential exposure to a deadly disease. 3, your whole leadership team is not even aware of the fact that there was a positive case within the store. Because I had asked a couple of managers before I got to the store manager, and they had no idea what I was talking about because he hadn't even notified his frontline team of the exposure. And then I asked, okay, so what is this company going to do for employees who feel as though they have been exposed? And he said, well, you're welcome to go to your own medical provider to go get tested. Or you can drive to a store 20 miles away and we have testing at that store for free. But otherwise, if you don't feel safe, you're welcome to go on leave of absence. But pretty much that's all I got for you. And at that point, I pretty much was like, I don't want to screw my coworkers because these are really nice people, really good people. So I'm going to finish out my shift. But then, middle fingers, I'm never coming back in here because this man who then after giving me my very, basic options, then told me how he felt like COVID-19 wouldn't do anything to him if he got it because he grew up on a pig farm and he's been in pig shit since he was a child. And so, I don't care. It wouldn't do anything to me if I got it. So just wear a mask. We'll all be okay. So I was able to walk away and not go back. But I know that I had coworkers who depended on that job for health insurance. There were people that I worked with who that was their only job that they could get right now. that depended on that job to support their family, that depended on that job to help get them through school. And they still had not been properly notified of an exposure to COVID by the store manager. Because I went directly to him, he still didn't take it upon himself to go call in the people who had not been notified. That to me was extremely significant because it told me that he did not even value these people as people. They were simply a means to get the product on the shelf to keep him making his sales goal for the day. And that it just went back to how the essential workers, they saw the customers treating us rudely, talking to us crazy, snatching stuff out of our hands, digging through our freight, looking for things, and never intervened because just do your job. It doesn't matter. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't care what's going on. It doesn't affect me. So I'm not even going to notify the rest of you about a potential exposure because, no big deal. You're not sick now. Don't worry about it. And it exposed to me how people are seen as less than because of the jobs that they are performing without even knowing their story.
Wow.
So go ahead, Michael.
Nope, go ahead.
I was going to say, so seeing as that you've been on, I don't want to say both sides of that because you've never been the person, actually withholding the whatever, but you've worked on the corporate side and then you were able to see what it was like to be a frontline essential worker. What is it from your corporate side that could or should be done short term? I know the long-term solutions are very big and complex and involve health insurance and probably, just a whole lot of socioeconomic changes. But what is it like if you were consulting to a company and then you found out that was happening at one of their stores? What would be your consultation to them, especially in the short term?
Is definitely to start by looking into what was something else that I had found out was looking into what's considered an employee and, how do you determine what someone is eligible for in terms of your benefits, in terms of your access? Because so in my day job, because I work in corporate diversity, and there are different programs, there are different development opportunities, there are different exposures that you have as a person on the corporate side versus someone on the front line and on the retail side of a business. How do you erase that line? Because with that line, you're saying you don't deserve a lot of the perks that the people on the corporate side have because you don't work in that environment. You don't work in an office. Versus, and why shouldn't they be if they're supposed to be a full-fledged member of your company? And frontline, they're the reason that you're able to keep the money coming in. And they're the reason that you're still open and are able to function completely. Because how many of your office workers going to go stock shelves? Few, if any. Especially right now with COVID and public exposure, you got people showing up every day dedicated, doing their job, and you're not allowing them the full benefits that your company offers because those people don't work in an office. That's a problem. You are telling them that they are less than and they do not deserve as much simply because of the type of job they do. And that supersedes race because I worked with more white people in that store than other people in other races. Mm-hmm. That's a class issue.
Well,
is that something you want to get into about the intersection of racism and classism, or?
Oh, totally. It definitely is. And I think that's what this conversation, this greater conversation about equity, about the protests, that it's going to have to morph into is a class conversation. because you have people who look down upon Black people and consider them of lower class. Then you have certain Black people who have made it, who have done well for themselves, who also look down upon other Black people as lower class, less than, do not deserve. Why don't they just do better? Why can't they just make it on their own? And it's a class issue. It goes back to the money. And I'm not advocating on some type of Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor, but equitable opportunities, which we have countless examples of people not being able to have. Even you talk about the disbursement of the paycheck protection program funds. That was not equitable. You have stories all over the place about people who were not able to get grants, even though there were supposed to be these rescue grants given through at the time of the stimulus. But banks were prioritizing larger businesses and businesses with higher incomes because they would have gotten more fees off of processing those loans, as opposed to the smaller businesses that are being started and that are being grown, or maybe that were just getting started when they were hit with COVID and had to shut down. Mm-hmm. It's an equity, race, class amalgam that we have to address, as opposed to it simply being race, simply being class. No, it's all of them all together.
And I mean, one of the things that we've definitely touched on in this show before, and I don't, know if we want to go that far into it tonight, is the things that historically have been used to keep racial minorities lower class. We talked about redlining, was that last episode with Dre, and it's there's so many layers to it, and I mean, you're the expert, so
am I?
Well,
considering present company, yeah.
Huh?
Considering present company, yes.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
I mean, you can dig in as deep as you want to. Otherwise, I'll throw the next question up there, or.
Well, I think the next question is a good lead into that too. Yes. Yes.
Was that the one you were thinking of?
Mm-hmm.
That one I've had my eye on also.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Tiffany. Other Tiffany. We have multiple Tiffany's.
Johnson, let me do this. I'm working on my own business after I work for somebody else. And I'm going to tell you why. I like PTO days. I like phoning it in sometimes. I like sick days. I like 401k matching. I like subsidized health benefits. Mm-hmm. I like not paying for overhead of running the day-to-day operation. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that. I do. So there is not a person on earth who can make me feel guilty for working for someone else. The mindset of people who and everything is shaming now, but it's like job shaming. Oh, you should work for yourself. You shouldn't work for other people. It's like, everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Then who's going to be the customer?
That's right.
Who's going to be the helper?
That's
Everybody can't own the company.
Yep.
That don't even make sense. So for people who go around and do that and spew that at others, I'm just like make it make sense, please and thank you, because it really doesn't. Mm-hmm. Everybody is not meant to be. This is not a lane for everybody. This is hard, and I'm only doing it part-time. If I don't work, again, I got a check from other job, which is fine. Whereas other entrepreneurs, if you don't work, you don't eat. You always out there hustling. If that's not what your thing is, if you have not gotten into your groove, if you have not found what your sweet spot is in order to be successful, to be sustainable, in order to get to a place where you can actually take a vacation, where you can, take a day off without feeling like, oh my God, I left money on the table. That takes years. So don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, if you're not working for yourself, you're wasting time. No, you're not. You're fine. You're doing just fine. And it's not for everybody. It just isn't. If it's for you, cool, go for it. Have a plan, execute on that plan, do it well. If it's not for you, that's cool too. But don't let anybody guilt you into thinking that you should be an entrepreneur, because that is not for everybody. And let's be abundantly clear. I only hear that. I have never heard a white person shame another white person for having a regular job or for not being an entrepreneur. I have only heard that from Black people. Saying, oh, if you're not working for yourself, then I've never, and maybe I just have not been around the right white people to hear that. In Maiya's experience, I have never heard that from a white person to another white person or a white person to another race of people. Black people, I have heard plenty of, oh, you a sucker because you don't own the business. It's like, sorry, you're a Herbalife distributor. You don't own the business either. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. What did we invite on this show? You're gonna get us canceled.
Well, we're not going to get that Herbalife sponsorship. I can tell you that much. They're not going to be advertising. I know you was just about to try it too, weren't you, Michael?
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's over now.
Don't let somebody shame you for how you live.
I feel you. And you know what? You're right. A lot of what we can and can't accomplish in life has to do with how well we know ourselves. And I get sick of people reaching and drawing for straws and chasing every little trend and not having a mind of their own. You got to look within yourself and figure out what's realistic for you. Right. Like, what are you really made of? And what do you, I mean, it's the same, everything you just said applies to music just exactly in the same sense. Everybody's not cut out for it. It ain't no kind of hustle. Working for other people is a part of the equation. If you're gonna keep your situation together, it also applies to what? Some people are trying to own a house. Other people are having an apartment. And you have to know whether or not you can face the challenges that come with the situation. You got to be honest with yourself. And people lie to themselves as much as and more than they lie to other people. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. People suffer from lack of knowledge of self is what I'm identifying here. What do you want? Have you figured out how to get it? Mm-hmm. What's in your way? Mm-hmm. Did you really want it? Or were it just sounded good at the time? Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of would like to, listen, girl, you.
I was going to use my own example because, and Michael and I have had this conversation many times. He was one of the first people that I told going on almost 2 years ago now, I stopped the majority of the touring that I was doing as a musician and took a full-time job at a church. And I remember when I posted on Facebook that I'd taken the job. If you go back and find that post in Facebook, there's like 200 comments of people that are like, "What are you doing? Why? I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're leaving, the road," or however people referred to it. And I wanted the stability of showing up, every day that I had to show up and doing the same thing. I was tired of the chase that comes with doing things on your own. And like I said, people thought I was crazy. Other musicians thought I was crazy. We'll call it musician shaming, I guess, since everything is shaming there now. And now in these pandemic times when pretty much touring and gigging is canceled, who's crazy now, and I've even used the example of Michael in a conversation with another musician friend, because, Michael has had a stable relationship in the same band for 15 years now. Uh-huh. And turned down more glamorous gigs to do it.
Well, only because I know what it costs me. First off, being gone in a way. I don't know if you've had this happen to you, Dan, but a lot of musicians that I've known are going out. We're going out with Cher. You're going to be out for a year. Oh, Janet Jackson. You get home and you find that everything you were involved in before that somebody got in and took your regular. You know, now what's it worth to you to go out there and feel like a rock star for a few months? You know, with somebody who's going to feed you for now. What are you cultivating? What are you working on in your own life to get the money to come to you so you don't have to keep going out and chasing it? You know? And also, me, I don't have any problem taking instruction from anybody. I love instruction. I love being good at taking instructions. Taking instructions is a part of knowing how to be a strong leader. You know? And I think that for me, like having a change in relationships all the time, like meeting new people but never really getting to actually forge, like I need to get into the fiber of somebody for it to be rewarding for me. I want to know we're on the same team, we have the same goals, and we're going to give our life's blood for it. That's why I'm in the same band I've been in for 15 years, because I found somebody who feels the way about it that I do. You know, I work for a lot of people that were incredible artists, you know, but I mean, if you're just going to be a sideman sausage, you can do that anywhere. Right. You can be a sideman sausage, but I'm too good at music to just be a sideline character to somebody else's situation. I don't mind I'm not looking to be a star, but I'm looking for the music to function right and for the audience to get sucker punched every night. Like, whoa, oh man, that show was incredible. That's what I come from. If you don't think Prince set out to sucker punch everybody every night when we were on stage, man, and you better be ready to do it too. And it wasn't even necessarily some of the show, you know, we knew what we were going to do. And other times, there'd be audibles. He'd want to change something. He'd stop this. He'd go do that. But no matter what, you got to maintain focus, you know? And that's what made it exciting, is being around people who are so good and so flexible and able to just kind of follow. It's an important skill set. It's an important skill to know how to execute, you know? Otherwise, you won't, I mean, how are you going to explain it to somebody who doesn't know how? You know? So I guess, it's, I understand what you're saying, Maiya. You're speaking to my spirit now. And you reminded me of the choices I made and how come.
And that's what you're saying is one of those things that is one of the most important skills that people are going to need to have, especially right now, as not only is the world evolving, the workforce is evolving, how we're going to work is evolving, what people are being asked to do versus what can be automated, which has been so greatly highlighted in this time of shutdown. What can still keep going without manpower? What can change? So just even what you're saying, being coachable, being agile, and that's a real corporate-y word that people like to throw around, being able to be adaptable, but also forging relationships. One of the main things that people come to me and ask me, you know, to be their mentor or to help them out with something. I said, if you want to work your way around this company or you want to go, there are 3 things that you need to be aware of. It's going to be the way you're going to move around is, who do you know? Who knows you? And what do they know you for? Do they know you as the hard worker that they see coming in, you know, neatly dressed? And that doesn't mean wingtips and khakis every day. That just means, are you presentable? Are you neat? Or are you that one that almost runs them over every morning, hitting that parking lot, and they smell you coming out your car because they smelled your recreation before you got to the door? And, you know, you loud on the phone, cussing at whoever on your breaks. But then you come in the interview and you wonder why you didn't quite get the job. It's because that's who they know you as. Even before they met you, how are you presenting yourself? And you're always presenting yourself, no matter what. Even to what you guys are saying about your choices, my degree actually is in theater. So
I did not know that.
Look at you, dropping gems on you. So I have a theater degree. Again, born and raised in LA. I learned that if I wanted to actually pursue acting or pursue a career in front of a camera professionally, as a Black woman who holds on to weight more often than I lose it, I would need to be cast as your sassy homegirl, your neck rolling auntie, your wisecracking something else in order to be a working Black actress in Hollywood. If that is what I truly aspire to be. That is not my natural inclination. And I did not want to be that character for my life in order to be able to put food on the table. I had to make that decision before immersing myself into that world and keep going out for role after role. Well, why didn't they cast me as this? And this was, this is before the advent of creators and the space of the internet where you can write your own narrative. But even still, you think to who are the Black archetypes in theater, in film, in TV, and what do they look like? And how do you fit into them if you are of a certain build, if you are of a certain look?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I never expected to bring him up in my whole life. Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Do you love him or do you resent him?
I don't resent him. I respect his work ethic. Like, you can't knock that man's work ethic. You can't. Am I a fan? Do I watch his stuff? No. I respect that he has a fan base, sure. A loyal fan base that keeps him in, in Gucci toilet paper or whatever. That man could blow his nose with 100 and say, why is it so rough?
Toilet paper.
Listen, I'm not knocking him that. Am I his fan base? I'm not. Mm-hmm. But I respect what he does. I respect what he's built. I respect that he's figured out how to appeal to his audience. And I don't know if either of you watched the show Black AF on Netflix.
I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it.
Okay.
Me.
Whole show. There's one episode though where Tyler Perry is on there and he's having a conversation with Kenya Barris, who's the main character. Okay. And he essentially says, I learned how to cater to my niche. That's why they show up for me, because I figured out what they want and I give it to them. And so they keep showing up. And so I stopped caring about what everybody else said because they liked it and they wanted it. And they will keep showing up and one day, and I've built that loyalty. So that's who I am serving. I'm not serving the world, because when I do that, I move away from the people who are actually showing up instead of not knowing exactly who it is that I am targeting. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you usually end up floundering and trying something different, and you reinvent yourself or rebranding and all the rest of this jazz. Whereas Tyler Perry been wig wearing, gunslinging, booty pad wearing Tyler Perry for 25 years?
Yeah, that's what James runs. How many men
hundreds
have to wrap themselves in dresses to get ahead? There is definitely a better way. That's funny.
But I feel like that's almost a rite of passage for Black comedians. I was binge watching Fresh Prince. Why? I don't know. But I finished and went through like the rest of it just the other day. So again, seasons 1 through 3, brilliant. 4 through 6, I see why he hung it up. He was washed and done by season 6. It just got real silly. Uh-huh. But there's an episode there where Chris Rock was the guest star. And he was there as a comedian who was supposed to be a guest on Hillary's show, but he was also playing a double role as his sister, his unattractive sister. Chris Rock in a wig, looking horrible, like a blonde wig too, not even like trying to looking really ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It was a rite of passage for a Black comedian. It seemed like, that's what you do.
I don't know if Cosby ever did it.
True.
I
But
don't know.
look at Flip Wilson though. Flip Wilson.
Yeah, Geraldine was. Yeah, I'm not. Don't make me call my boyfriend killer.
Right.
That went way back.
That's way back. That's before your time, there, Daniel.
I'm familiar though. It's before my time, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, I guess, and I guess Chappelle was the last one to shut the door on it.
Yeah, but how? Not saying that it was a guarantee of success, but Chappelle also had to carve out his lane to say this is where I stand, and I'm really not deviating from it. Mm-hmm. Versus you have the other comedians who have done it, who were more commercially accepted prior to that, without having to necessarily carve out their specific lanes.
Yes.
To then be received. It was, okay, he's palatable. Now he can come in here and do something a little different, but we've already decided we like him. So we can kind of go either way on it.
Sure.
Like they let Chris Rock make a whole bunch of terrible movies. Let's be clear. Chris Rock don't make good movies.
I like that one. I think I love my wife. I like that a little bit.
Overall, if we listed Chris Rock movies, more of them are horrible than they are good.
And State?
I never.
All right. Okay. All right.
I like.
It was all right. I haven't watched it in years, but it was all right compared to his
sure
list. It was all right.
Well, everybody can't do everything.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Yeah.
Very.
Before we get
we're all over the place, but I'm having a good time. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to keep this thing a little more focused, but I'm not in that sort of mood this evening. I want to kind of go wherever we can go. Is that all right with you, Maiya?
I'm just happy to be here.
All right. Well, we're happy you're here too.
Yeah, I kind of figured we might do a little of this today. Before we get too far off base, I did want to throw Rob's question up there for Maiya.
Do you know him?
I don't know him, but I'll take his money.
I believe he's one of my Facebook friends, yes, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay, well, I mean, it's funny, man, because doing this show has made me real paranoid, not paranoid, but real judgmental about some of these questions that come in. Like sometimes I think you got to be kidding me, right? Like I read this at first, and I was like, this dude's having a giggle. This dude is trying to.
I wouldn't think that.
Eviscerate. Like I read it like it was sarcastic. Like I got mad when I read it.
I didn't get that at all. But I'm the white guy, so maybe you know.
I didn't take it that way.
Okay,
I took that as completely sincere because some of the she was dropping real gems with the ABCs of diversity, so I could see somebody wanting.
I'm vibrating at a different frequency today, and that's okay. But I'm really leery about some of these people. Because I'm so fixated right now on white people trying to infiltrate positive movement. That I got everybody sideways.
We don't even. Well, this dude's profile picture is a burrito, so we don't even know if it's a white dude or not.
I know we don't. But if he's talking about,
is that a burrito or is that chili and a hot dog?
I can't tell what it is.
Chili and a hot dog. It's a white guy.
I'm pretty sure it's one of my Facebook friends, but whenever people change their profile pictures, I forget who's who.
Hot, man. I don't know.
I'm here for it.
Dan, these white people, man. Dan, these white folks out here.
They could be Soul Asylum fans.
Ooh.
Don't put them all on me. Some of that's your fan base.
All right.
Ooh. So can I ask you a question, Michael?
You can ask me whatever you want, Maiya.
Corazones. All over the place. Okay. So Dan and I, and this is a random tangential. I feel like we're there though. So just what you were saying about being just staying ready. You mentioned Prince, just in regard to like switching things up and at any moment being ready to go. I was telling Dan that back in the 2000s when Prince did his residency at the Forum in LA, I went 3 times because tickets were $25 and it was like why wouldn't I go? It's $25. But the show was different each time that I went, and it was always an interesting experience because even the opening acts would say, oh, I just got a phone call last night and Prince asked me to show up, you know, at the Forum tomorrow to open up for him. And then like, I just did it. And so just generally speaking, like how often were your shows more so like off the rip versus this is the set list? And how did you train yourself to become like just to pivot in that way?
You know, you kind of when you're spending that much intense time with somebody, the kinetic energy builds. I gotta say, some of it I can't even really explain it because it just comes from knowing a person. I mean, you're talking about hours and hours of just like we just be putting the show together, and in the middle of putting the show together, he'd start working on a new song, you know. Or I'm just saying the creative process was open-ended. It never stopped. We played, I'm pretty sure the night that we played Wembley Stadium, we played another show somewhere after that. It was completely a different music, you know. He probably didn't tell us really what he wanted to play until it came time to go on. Like, let's do this and do this, and then we'll just see what happens here. Like, he was always good about leaving the door open for the muse to just, you know, run wild. So you got to get used to that kind of energy where it's like you can never just daydream. You take your eyes off him and you miss one of those 2 times, bat, you see his hand go up, you better do something. You know what I mean? Where it's like you got to be so tuned into a person that you almost got to know what they're going to do before they know. And that takes capacity. Oh, you gonna drop your handkerchief on that? Bat! Yeah, that happened. Used to happen too. Like he just dropped the hanky. Bow! I don't know how to explain exactly how you just either have the capacity to stay ready or you don't. Some soldiers are good soldiers. Some soldiers clean latrines all day. Some get on the battleground front line fighting, and it's a different instinct. It's you got to be. It's something in you just has to rise to the occasion. I can't even explain, but I mean, if you were around, it was because you could deliver. Nobody working in Prince's band, none of us, anybody, you could name anyone. If you didn't have the ability to come with the goods, you wouldn't have stayed that long. That's just the simple truth of it. You got to have something, that desire to like, that I can't mess up. I won't let it happen. I will be fail safe. We're going to follow you off the cliff of this mountain and into the sea if that's where you're going. Like, you got to be committed to where the train is trying to take you. You can't be trying to jump off and looking out, and you got to, I don't even know if I'm really getting it across to you. It's a thing that not everybody can do. Not everybody can do that. Maybe everybody can do that in their own context, or if they find the thing that they're good at that's hard for them, and then you have to find other people who agree on those standards and practices. You know, that we're not going to let that happen. It can't be no leaky faucets. Everybody got to be on the same page. That's what I'm in it for. That's why I'm still in Soul Asylum. Because when we step on stage, it don't matter 5 people, 5,000 people. You get on and get it on, man. Never a dull moment, you know. And we rehearsed like we play. With Prince didn't pull any punches when we were performing. If you were doing it, you let the spirit have its way. You know, it's such a weird intersection between ambition and inspiration, and the spirit. The spirit. You have to rely on the spirit to take you where you can't necessarily visualize or see clearly. You know what I mean? It's like there has to be a sort of trust in you that you know what you're doing and that you can handle what's coming, and that you're not going to have a panic attack, on stage in the middle of a concert with 6,000 people watching. I guess that's why I tell people sometimes, the reason I'm so hard on people who want my instruction is because I kind of came up on a steady diet of negative reinforcement. Like, if nothing else, it's once you develop a reputation as a great musician, it doesn't end there. That's where it starts. Every time I pick up the sticks, whether I'm in rehearsal or on stage, I got to commit. The truth has to come out. I got to be in a position to let that happen. What I've learned is what you practice is what you're going to ultimately. That's what's going to happen when you get on stage. So if you're in rehearsal, man, we got it. I know I made a mistake there. No. If you don't get it right here, you're not going to get it right there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to want to hear about and a bunch of excuses. That's why Prince and I got along so well as musical people. I mean, as people. I mean, we're both crazy in different ways. But as musical people, I think Levi was quoted saying, Prince went off one day about we don't do this for ourselves. We're doing this for the people who come to see the show. Mm-hmm. If we mess up a show, theoretically, we need to go back and play that show again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's some people play to enjoy, and other people play because it's their anointing. It's their life mission. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's serious to them. It's serious, And I realize that's why a lot of people I've encountered, a lot of my peers, find me insufferable because listen, if you're going to do it right. What's your problem? Don't show up to rehearsal, learn it. Don't learn on my time. This is the time to combine our sound and our energy and our focus. Mm-hmm. You need to know what I know before we step into this. Mm-hmm. You can prepare music before you get to rehearsal. I don't understand why you don't. I'm sorry, is this off topic for you?
No, because you were saying I was speaking to your spirit before you're speaking to mine. Because I'm very much that type of person. Uh-huh. To where if it's something, not necessarily musical, but it's like if we're coming to handle business, let's handle the business.
Well,
that don't like what is this you didn't read? I'm sorry. Did your eyes break? I don't understand. Like, if we're coming to do it, let's do it.
Yeah, don't play with me.
Your time is more valuable than mine. And if we're supposed to be working towards a greater project, a greater, end game, then let's do that and make it great. But if you're going to waste my time, do me a favor and don't. Or leave me out of it. And so it's interesting to hear you say that because that is a very translatable mindset, and also not what you're saying, like it's not just your inspiration, it's your ministry.
That's right.
It is. It's your ministry, because there are some people, and I know some people, we can get into the Kojic side of things. I'll go that way. So I'm talking to people. Of some people who don't like to hear that word or those type of terms apply to things outside of the church. But the church is not the only way to minister to people. It is not the only way to reach people. It is not the only way to connect with people. And when you are operating in your gifts, it does not just mean operating in your gift as it relates to your religion. Your gift may be the gift of organizing a shelf. If you're operating in your gift, you're going to do that at such a high level that nobody else can touch or organize a shelf the way you organize a shelf.
That's right.
And you have to operate in that gift. And when somebody asks you to do that, I believe they have to give you space to do it. If you are asking to help them, do it from a place of purity. Do not try to interrupt their gift. Do not try to one up their gift.
Right.
Get in where you fit in, but allow that person to operate in their excellence, because when it is their ministry, no matter what it is, even if you don't get it, you have to allow a person to completely fulfill their duty and their mission, because they're doing it not just for you, not just for them. They're doing it to the glory of whatever they believe in, and they're doing it to honor themselves and their spirit.
That's right. That's right. I got nothing to put on that. That's
I'm just saying. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do or do not, man. I mean,
That's it.
I've been in it too long to just be shucking and jiving with it. Like, this is real. This is serious. If you're gonna put your hands down around me, I want to hear some music. You know, and play your position. Know your role and play it. Absolutely. I have no problem being a fixture in the background. If we all on the same team, I don't need no spotlight. My presence is going to be felt no matter what. You know?
No, I feel you.
The one part of Maiya's question that I don't think you touched on is, was there ever a show that stayed true to form, or was it always spontaneous?
I'll say this. Early in the tour, for the first couple of weeks, we were in Prince's suite after the show with notepads, taking notes, watching the show over. You know, you get back to your room, you shower, you you put on some clothes, you get your notebook, and you go to Prince's room, and you're gonna sit there like you're a football team or a basketball team, and you can discuss. That didn't really work. What can we do different here? Well, what happened here? How come I thought you're supposed to do the thing? Well, you know, the lighting director too. Hey, why are you putting blue light on a black person? Don't do that. You know, it's continuous. The study is continuous through the first couple of weeks. After that, he get loose, he get bored and want to stretch out. You know, but see what's funny about Prince is we'd be walking to the stage and he'd holler out, "Take me with you," instead of Raspberry Beret. As I'm walking up the stairs, and the audience is already yelling. And he's just yelling this audible before you get on stage. Now, the song is not going to happen until you get about halfway in the set. But you got to remember the entire time, we're not doing Raspberry Beret tonight. We're doing Take Me With You. How did that arrangement go? You're sitting there and the intro tape's going. You're like, how did that arrangement go? You get there and you just have to download that information, you know, because the set list is still saying whatever it's saying, but Prince done said different. So you better be in a flexible mindset and don't get to where Take Me With You is supposed to be there and Raspberry Beret, you have to keep this information in your head. Not only that, a lot of bands at that time were working with sequencers. Prince refused because he wanted to be able to stop and go wherever he wanted. So my electronic situation back there, running all like the loops and stuff and all the Lynn samples, man, I had to internalize the tempos. I count the band off in the tempo and hit the switch and we'd be off and running, you know. Prince decides he doesn't want to play that one in the middle on the one. Back! I hit that kill switch. Man, I mean, it was the definition of that gig was be instant. Be ready. Know that you can't possibly have any idea what's coming, but deal with it like you do. You know?
So how have you adapted that mindset and that level of preparation into other areas of your life?
I don't know that I have it all. I mean, it's first off, when you work with somebody like that, it makes it hard to find other situations interesting, to be 100% honest, because not everybody reached for, you know, the stars and the universe like Prince did. And when you get used to that sense of adventure, And then you go back to working with somebody who has none, or it's like the show's going to roll out the same way every night. I mean, working with Chaka was actually working with Chaka Khan was like a dream come true. I know that music from my childhood. My sister has the same birthday as Chaka. So I grew up listening to all that music. And when I got in that band, the bass player turned around, hey, man, hey. Melvin turned around, you gonna play it like that? You go, oh, yeah, all right. Man, all right. He kept looking back at me. Okay. Because he knew I knew that music. It was in my bloodstream. He didn't have to tell me nothing. Yeah. I mean, it's so I guess I've used it in the entirety of my business. But my life, I don't know how to account for my life. Really. I'm so impulsive, and it's something I'm learning to try to handle as I get older, because you can't just keep just doing whatever, and you just can't keep doing whatever.
But you're always ready for whatever, because you said that was
ready for whatever. But whatever is not necessarily ready for me. Like this is a guy who used to live in my house. He used to, it's feast or famine in the music business. It's really famine now. Mm-hmm. But he used to ask, he said, why don't you ever get nervous or fearful when the phone don't ring? He said, I've never seen anybody so confident that something will show up. I said, because my steps are numbered, man. I don't worry. Half the time when it appears that I'm stagnant or in one place, I know that God is preparing things for me in that particular moment. When I'm at the airport, you will never see me in the line with people going, I got to get on another plane right now. If the flight gets canceled, I'm cool. No problem. I always look, I guess I'm so accustomed to God's protection that I'm comfortable in it. I know that I won't, what I want in the world, I can get it. But sometimes, and this is what Dave Hampton said to me one day, said, some money costs too much to make. I'm concerned about what I give up in the process. Mm-hmm. Because right now I'm in a band with people who listen to me, who we go out, we have a good time. We got equal motives. We got equal goals. We got equal, just whatever that's called, just authentic power. We all working at the top of I'm making sure everybody else is working at their top, because that's what I come to offer. Let's work at the top. Let's be the best. Let's get it. Let's be undeniable. Why not? And you can't always have that experience. It's funny because I actually almost accepted the job as I don't know how many people have actually told this story, but I came pretty close to being J-Lo's
exclusive.
No, it's not that exclusive. It's just I came real close to being the musical director for Jennifer Lopez a couple of years ago. And it really would have meant it could have meant some different career opportunities. But when she goes on tour, she's going to Guam. She's going to, and it was going to be a long tour with a lot of travel. And also, I had seen some of her stuff before. So I had an inkling that really what was going to happen is that the band was going to be under the stage and the dancers were going to be on top. Mm-hmm. And nobody was going to even know I was there unless they bothered to check the credits. And that ain't a situation that's advantageous for me. Some industry people might have known, but it's the only reason to do something like that, to put yourself through it, is the exposure. Really, at least that's my opinion. But I just thought about it. It's like, man, I was gonna actually, Barbarella was gonna go with me, Dan.
That would have been an interesting band.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, an interesting band under the stage.
Yeah.
And go, oh, we killed it, and nobody even, you know.
So
I got to think about how these situations are going to work for me. I know what I bring to the table. What am I going to get out of this? You know, and I decided to stick with the team that I came in with, Soul Asylum, because I know what's going to happen. We're going to get out there and wreck shop. Dave Perner needs me, and I need to be needed. And J-Lo didn't need me. Is the bottom line. She could get anybody. There's so many great musical directors out there, you know. And it would have been it probably would have been fun, but you know, I couldn't. The intrinsic value, other than a steady paying job, but I learned a long time ago, and back to Dave Hampton, that I can't let money run my life necessarily, because other things matter. So I'm in it for what I'm in it for. I figured out a while back that God put me on this rock for one more final time, and that's to have fun. I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to enjoy every aspect of life that I can. People who know me, I'm a weirdo, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of life. You know, like my mind don't work like a lot of people's minds work. And I find humor in and my dad was a very peculiar person. Somebody would call and say, you know, Hattie Mae died back, you know, and my dad, his response would be not like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but well, she had a good run. I mean, what? I mean, she was 98, you know. He always thought that was funny when people would call to let you know that old people have passed on. Well, they old, you know, so that's what I'm saying. Dan ain't even laughing because he's so disgusted with me right now.
Oh no, I'm tickled because I've been trying to get you to tell more music stories every episode, and I don't know what magic Maiya has to bring it out of you. Because you feel like telling some stories today, Michael, and I appreciate that.
Well, she wasn't afraid that. I felt like with Tiffany, Tiffany was a little professional with me. You know, all kind of above board, and that tells me one or two things. Either she didn't want to appear to be too excited about it, because I know who I work with. Prince turned on the world. I get it. I understand. There's a reason why people feel the way they feel about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what he represents, and his work ethic, and the world he tried to build, and the journey he tried to take people on, man. So, you know, I get it, but I don't know what he is or was, but I'm just some dude. You can ask me anything about my experiences, and I'll be honest. I'll just tell you what I know. You know, nobody really asked before. Maiya asked, so we're talking about it.
And I'm glad, and more so than just your experience with Prince. Just listening to what you're saying, it's like there's a lot of similarities there. One of my affirmations, if I feel myself getting anxious, is you are where you're supposed to be. There are no mistakes. Just like what you're saying about, you know, if I miss a plane, okay, I wasn't supposed to be on that plane.
That's right.
Or, I'm not about to sit here and freak out about it. I am where I'm supposed to be. There are no mistakes.
Absolutely.
What do I learn from this situation? Obviously, I'm supposed to be here for a reason.
That's right.
When you start to look at the world through that viewpoint, as opposed to freaking out, oh no, no. Okay, I'm in this airport for a reason. Maybe you were supposed to talk to somebody. Maybe you were supposed to acknowledge someone, look them in the eye and tell them they mattered. Maybe you were supposed to stay back because there was something else that you had to accomplish in that space, in that time.
Yes.
And being present versus trying to be ahead of where you think you're supposed to be, instead of being present in where you are and accomplishing the things that you were supposed to accomplish. That has taken me a while to get to. I had a job that I was not very, very excited about. And I was like applying for other jobs and I just kept getting rejections or I wasn't going. And finally, just one day it was like, you know what? I kind of put it in the context. Like you said, how do I teach myself stuff? I was like, this is like Quantum Leap. Y'all remember that TV show?
I never watched it, but I'm
okay.
Familiar, yeah.
The dude would black out and he'd wake up and he'd be in a different scenario every time. And he couldn't leave until he accomplished whatever it was he was supposed to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And so instead of me going, oh my God, I'm never going to leave, I was like, obviously I'm still here because I'm supposed to either do something, talk to somebody, or make something happen before I can leap to my next opportunity. And applying that to my life has helped me to then like keep my sanity, one, to really be present and understand that even there are no surprise interactions. There are no, coincidences. I'm supposed to talk to who I'm supposed to talk to. Sometimes I feel like I may not have the words, but I'm supposed to be obedient to the direction to talk to someone. Uh-huh. And when I start to do that, the words come, whether I know where they're coming from or not, and really understanding that. So what you're saying about pivoting and knowing your craft, or really it being a ministry that comes in so many different forms, and being aware enough and to trust the direction and the guidance of whatever you believe in, be it God, be it goddess, be it universe, be it ancestors, mm-hmm. that they are not leading you wrong, but to be obedient to the direction that you're moving in.
All right, that was a mic drop.
Yeah. So we're
y'all are
I'm I don't want to make an abrupt shift of topic, and I also don't want to discourage Michael from telling music stories, but I do want to make sure.
Let just hold up for 1 second, because she got my mind moving elsewhere. That's what it is. Michael. That you just hit on the word, and a lot of people don't like the connotations that come with the word obedience. Mm-hmm. Obedience is not a bad thing.
No,
it's taking a bad rap.
Yes,
you'd be surprised at what can be accomplished when you surrender to your true path. You'd be amazed at what can happen in your life if you just surrender. So surrender is not a bad thing.
I think it's, what is it, 1 Samuel?
I wish, you know what, Michael, you're my best friend.
What's that?
You're my new best friend. I wish you could. So I'm a little insane too. So these are my favorite things in the world. Post-its, just post-its. So when I have words and thoughts and things like that, I write them on Post-its, and I have some on boards and things. I'm sure y'all can see maybe boards behind me or whatever. There is a board in my room, and on that board is the word surrender. And look at you. See, I'm a wussy cake and I'm a crybaby, and I'm trying not to cry right now because you're like, it's about more so than giving up. It's letting go.
Uh-huh.
And there is such a difference in that people don't understand, just like you're saying, in obedience. Mm-hmm. There is such a difference in the letting go of surrender versus I can't. No, it's I've done all I can do. And so whatever is meant to be will happen. And in that surrender, mm-hmm. I let go of the weight of the pressure of I'm supposed to know, I'm supposed to do, I've done what I can do. And now I surrender the rest.
Yes. Yes.
Land, you're my new
friend. Well, that's all right with me. Yeah, we don't give up. Giving up is not an option. But definitely.
Good, Dan gonna give us a word to go with it. Come on here.
Does the Lord delight in
y'all? To musicianship, to church, to everything.
Yes.
This is a one-stop shop tonight. Look at this. Y'all got a deluxe edition tonight.
Well, that's just because
It's always time for chicken, James. Please understand that it is always time for chicken.
yeah,
Always.
James is my homie. Icky James and I are like this. We toured many years together with Prince. When I was doing shows in France with these jazz artists and whatnot, Icky James came along. He stomped all over Versailles. He stomped all over Nice. He stomped everywhere with us. Icky James is just he's the cat I call when I know I need something dealt with. You know, it's funny because I had some neighbors move in next door, and you know, I had been on the road and I hadn't set up my lawn service, and I came home and those people had moved in, and my lawn was way out of hand, and the dude has never met me before. He puts a note on my door saying, time to clean your lawn, like time to fix your lawn. You know, your dandelion spores are getting over on my property and causing more. Like, you gonna leave a note on my door? And I peeked out the back way, out into the backyard, and my neighbors on this side were out sunbathing. I said, "Hey," they said, "Hey." I said, "Did you leave a note on my door?" No. I said, "Is my lawn getting to be? It's like I've been out of town. Is the lawn a problem?" "We don't care." So then I knew it was old boy next door, looking like Charlton Heston. I said, "Okay, all right. You know what? I'm not going to go over there and deal with this dude because he's already old, and having a big Negro like me comes doing the cop knock. I know how to do the when the police knock on the door. Man, that's how I knock on the door when I'm heated. So I decided to just let this dude, you know, whatever. And but we were pulling into the driveway. Icky James was dropping me off, and the dude pulled into his driveway, and Icky James said, "That the dude who put the note on the door?" I said, "Probably." He opened the door of the truck and started walking across the yard. I'm like, "Don't, James." And I just put my head down. I just stayed in the truck. I'm like, if we both came for this dude, he was definitely going to have a heart attack or something, call the cops, I don't know what. So I just stayed in the truck and I let James go ahead and handle it. And he didn't do it wrong. He said, "Hey, listen, I know you're new to the neighborhood, you know, and you haven't even met your neighbor yet, but I want you to know he's an upstanding citizen. You know, like this man, you have a good neighbor over here." Like, James really talked to the dude. Like, you know, all that's not necessary. We're reasonable people. Get to know the people around you, man. You know, you don't have to resort to leaving notes. And the guy was like, "My wife already told me I shouldn't have done it." You know, and I'm like, this dude's gonna fall out right here. And you know, I still don't really know him, but you know, we gained an understanding. We got it. But Icky James was the one. He knew exactly how to talk to this old white dude so that it wasn't gonna be no trouble. The dude was gonna jump out of his old wrinkly skin, but you know, James handled it. He's the dude I call to handle it. Now, on the flip side, one time I was at my mom and dad's house, and the ADT alarm went off here, and they called my mom and dad's house. That's the number I gave them. They said, "Yes, Michael Bland. Yeah, yeah, okay." And the dude says the sensors picked up some movement in the house, so we're going to call the police. You know, and in my mind, I'm like, somebody's stealing everything in my house right now. And my next call was Icky James. "Icky, I need you to go by the house, man. Don't go unprepared." "Yeah, I got you." He parked down the block like he was Serpico or somebody, like he was Beretta. He parked down the block and snuck up on the house. He had one of those flashlights that takes like D batteries. Like one
of the big police flashlight, yeah.
Wound somebody, you can knock them over the head with it, and they may never regain consciousness. He had one of those.
Magla.
Yeah, he was ready for it. And no sooner did he get within about 100 feet of the house, but here come the cops. So he turned around and went back to the truck. Like, let Johnny handle it. So you know, but he was going to deal with it. But it turned out that it was just like some cobwebs moving around in front of the sensor. So. Anyway, you know, we tight, Icky James. Did you know that?
Saying he'll come clobber somebody for you.
What is
So Todd Phipps, rub or sauce, since you're talking about some ribs.
Well, I mean, we're getting close to the 10-minute mark here. Did we talk about what we're supposed to talk about? I feel like Maiya could really go anywhere she wants to. She could keep up wherever we headed.
I was trying to push you towards today being Blackout Day, but we don't have to get into that if you don't want to.
Blackout Day, we can get into it. I mean, I don't know what Maiya is going to say, but she's going to say what we've all been thinking. One day is cute, but that's not enough. If you really want to cripple the white supremacist power structure, we need days. We need months. The Montgomery bus boycott took 381 days before they got some traction. It's going to take more than one day to cripple the white wallet.
You got anything to add to that, Maiya?
You know, yeah, because somebody didn't spend money today, they're going to go out and spend double tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's be clear on that. And then I've had a discussion about this, not particularly about this instance of boycott for one day, but just that this generation, we are the product of our parents' success. We are the product of our parents protesting. And so we don't know how. We don't know what that reservation, that holding back, that fortitude, that determination to hold tight to until we see change, because we are both, again, a product of their success and their struggle. And additionally, combine that with a microwave mindset and the notion of instant gratification. And it's going to take a real major movement in order for us to see some true change and true dismantling of the systems that are in place that allow for the consistent mistreatment of not only Black people, but people of color. Until we get that muscle back up, one day is not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because, I mean, we're certainly getting our share in this day and age, but we are not getting it like they got it.
No.
So, I mean, you're separate from referencing that type of subjugation. It's still happening. It's just different now. I mean, nobody's turning on the hoses. Nobody's got the German Shepherds out.
We got the rubber bullets, though.
Yet. Did you say yet? Yeah, Talk about it now. Well, you know what? I did an interview for Rolling Stone, and the dude, I kind of came out of box on the dude. He didn't get me down right because I kind of went all over. I was just hostile that day. And he said, well, what can you say? You know, are you trying to, he basically asked me like, so you don't believe that much progress has been made since the civil rights movement? I said, I used to could say they stopped killing us in the street with everybody watching, but I can't even say that now. I can't even say that.
Nope.
You know, and I'm not one of those dudes. I get it. Yeah. Fair housing law, right to vote. Yes, I know some things actually happened. Slavery, you know, was abolished. But what people don't realize is it takes a long time for people to acclimate if they're going to, you know. That's why 12 Years a Slave made me so upset. That's a dude who was basically supposed to be free. But you're talking about all sorts of people who, nope, we don't care what the law says. You know? So people, well, what? Well, slavery's over. Yeah, maybe legally. But I mean, they literally had slaves until like 1950 something, or the equivalent of. All I know is my people still doing what they were doing. You know, I think I mentioned this to you before. I found out from my mom that her dad and his brothers were slaves. I never knew that in my whole life. She just told me the last time I visited her at the place. So it's a lot closer to us than we than we want to admit to ourselves, maybe. Or then maybe we just haven't been educated. We don't know. I didn't know. But you're right about that. We're standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. And we may not have the intestinal fortitude or we're living in a world where everybody wants everything right now. And this ain't that type of party.
I think that also...
We have to keep saying it again. It's like, because once is not enough. And when people show such levels of being placated by such minor concessions, it weakens the argument for greater progress.
So you don't think that maybe so you see it that way rather than being baby steps?
Yes.
Okay.
Because what happens is when somebody gets placated, more often than not, if it's just enough to make them comfortable, then they're going to stop pushing.
Oh, boy.
If it's, oh, well, they're not so bad. They gave us this scrap. They don't want us to starve. Look at this scrap they gave us.
Right.
Leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's one less push on the wall.
I have an example that I've been thinking about lately, and you can tell me if it's the same thing you're talking about or if I'm off base. So, a lot of the protests started out with stop killing people. And then a lot of local governments were like, well, we'll take Confederate statues down. And then now the argument a lot of the movement has shifted to taking statues down instead of, and I'm not against taking statues down, but now that's where the conversation is. Trump's made a whole great big thing about statues.
Nobody asked.
What's that?
Nobody asked for that. I don't give a damn about no statue.
I don't care either. And if you're going to keep them, tell the truth about who they are and what they stand for. If you want them, tell the truth. I don't care. You can that symbolism can't control anything I'm going to do if I ignore it and keep pushing, because I know what I'm able to accomplish. And the presence, having a hater nearby, that's just more motivation for me. I don't care about these statues. But if you're going to keep them, tell the truth, man. Just tell the truth.
So I know performative allyship.
Yeah, that's why I get so mad. I've been hot about that for the last 2 weeks. All these, okay, we're going to take Aunt Jemima off the. I don't what you. Why you going to do it? You've known all these years.
Canada. I don't care if we don't got no pancake box.
You've known it was messed up. Why change now?
Changes the narrative, changes the story.
Shh. Here you go. Here's a scrap. Shh.
Uh-huh. Now, what can you do about this? That's right.
Being off the rice.
I don't care about none of that. I'm still looking for the cops to get arrested for Breonna Taylor's murder.
Yeah.
I still want to see what's going to happen to these dudes up this way. The four, the two towel. And what's his name? Derek Chauvin. And the boys that did George Floyd up here. I'm really waiting to see what's going to happen on that. Because I feel feet dragging. I feel the system. I feel somebody slipping their thumb on the scale of justice.
Because the news cycle has shifted. But while you're at it, get the folks that killed that baby Elijah McClain.
Well, all right. Yes, absolutely.
Sense.
Stop
it. Stop telling us that all these black men are ceremonially and sacrificially hanging themselves in public without saying that they are being lynched. This is what? All of a sudden, black men are starting to hang themselves in public? This is a thing? No, it's not.
No, it's not. That ain't never been us. Why would we do that?
It's not. And so stop all of that and stop waiting for the news cycle to shift, because
Mm-hmm.
That's what the desire is for the news cycle to shift, so that y'all stop talking about it. Y'all quiet down. We gave you some time.
Yeah.
I had a status a few weeks ago. I think you saw it, Dan, about I said all these allies that popped up when George Floyd got killed. It was like, check them terms and conditions. That 14-week trial on allyship is running out. And already, in the corporate sector, people are like, why are we still talking about this? Why is it still a thing? They're over it. Why are we still talking about this? What's been done? No answer there, but why are we still talking about this? Like, y'all, shh.
And this is why. I mean, I've always been more Malcolm than Martin. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We don't have to live by the definition, by the tropes and the images that the white supremacist power structure has shown us and projected to us about us. We don't have to identify with any of that. We are free to define ourselves whatever way we choose. It may come with a price, but it's time for us to decide what we're going to do. Because we can't I can't believe I'm almost repeating what Andre said last week. You can't wait on the white man to solve your problems.
No.
It's on us.
Partially, but we also can't dismantle things that we didn't build.
And that's now she's saying what I was saying to Andre. I said, no, some people are still to blame. Because this is not a construct of our making. We didn't even ask to come here. So, I mean, but for that matter alone, it's ridiculous to think that anybody who is not white is just going to automatically get a fair shake. That's crazy. It's a Eurocentric system. It's designed to serve them. Unfortunately for them, we have things that they need. I mean, if you're not educated, then you don't know that the sciences of the mind were developed in Egypt. Mathematics, science. Europeans used to go to Timbuktu to study. The first known university in the world was us. It's crazy.
Even beyond that, just thinking, just in regard to going back to the classism and people having a place in society. If we are less than, if we are not equal to, if we are not worthy of the same treatment, then why are we entrusted with domestic duties, child rearing? And I mean us in terms of people of color.
Yes.
Even if you want to go back to slavery, that was such a grand level of trust to have slaves caring for you, cooking your food, trusting that they were not going to poison and kill you and take y'all all out. And all it would have taken is one thing of poison cornbread, and y'all have been gone.
And it would have been delicious too.
Listen, wouldn't have even tasted the poison, just been mixed right on in there with a little bit of sugar. Nursing babies. Just even, and so even now with the build the wall and everything else, who's going to landscape your house? Who's going to clean said house? Who is going to mind your children? It has shifted from primarily Black people to now Latino people who are that domestic workforce, or Asian people, depending on what area of the country that you're in. But then the hate that comes from it, it's like, how are you so hateful towards people who feed you? That don't even make sense. If I hated you, the last thing I'm gonna do is eat at your house or have you in my house cooking and preparing my food and watching my children. Let me just snap. Let one little neuron go left. Guess what? That could be the end of everything. But that you have that trust or that power or that mindset that you're not going to do that because I have that much control over you that you wouldn't even. That's so complicated.
that's not only complicated, but arrogant in the highest order. And but that's also why they're so fearful. You had to kill all of our leaders to prevent a black messiah. Literally in the CIA papers, was it Nixon? I think that was in office. All the Panthers had to go. Fred Hampton, slain in his bed with his wife and children there. That's first off, we know that anybody who hates is afraid. And I mean, that's the reality of the situation, is that they hate us because they fear us. Every time we start to move forward and define ourselves by our own terms and not by how they want to see us or want us to see ourselves, then you got to go. Then you got to drop bombs on Tulsa, Oklahoma. Why you drop bombs on Black Wall Street? So that's what I got to say about the bootstrap people. Listen, we've tried many times to stick to our own and get our own. You don't like that either. So what's it going to take?
I don't know the answer to that question.
It was rhetorical. I literally didn't expect.
No. I was just in regard to that. I was having a conversation with someone about how, even you mentioned Black Wall Street. Just look at the examples of, say, institutions that are started by Black people with the intent of creating a space for Black people to thrive and have similar experiences as white people, say HBCUs, Black Greek letter organizations, fraternities and sororities. I have plenty of white, Latino, Asian sorority sisters and fraternity brothers. Mm-hmm. Even when we create something with the intent of it being a space for Black people, we do not exclude others, versus these other spaces that we have been left out of, we then create and still don't leave y'all out. And there's still this whole notion of, oh, Whitey, you're racist because if I had a whites only club, you do have a whites only club. That's why we started our club over here. But if y'all wanted to come over here and hang with us, we don't have a problem with it for the most part. We might question your motives because we don't trust you, which is right. And I'm interested to know, Dan, if you're over here. Anyway.
Too weird.
Just this, how much, proving of yourself did you have to do before you were completely even embraced within, say, the Kojic church, which I don't ever remember seeing a white person in the Kojic church regularly.
So I can't remember if Michael and I have had this discussion on the air or privately, but we might have talked about this in a previous episode. But as a person, what I have found as a white person who has lived a huge portion of my life in Black spaces, mm-hmm. is that once people see that I'm comfortable around them, once Black people see that I'm comfortable around them, then I'm welcome. And that's literally all it takes. Because if a white person is comfortable in a room full of Black people, that makes their motive clear enough. Whereas the only proving of myself that I've really had to do has been as a musician, because being comfortable in a Black space is one thing. Being able to fulfill Black music, especially in an environment like that is very similar to what Michael was describing in terms of his experiences touring with Prince, where you have to be on the nose all the time. Things may change and you have to know exactly where it's supposed to go. And there's a mm-hmm. spiritual aspect, and there's an emotional aspect, and there's a natural aspect.
It takes
and that the assumption is always when I'm in a new space that I can't hang musically. But mm-hmm. as a person, Black people are so much more welcoming than white people, because if you get a white person in a black space, the only question is, once people see that I can comfortably navigate that space, then I'm welcome. Whereas if you have a black person in a white space, which happens every day for almost everybody, there's a lot more than just having to be comfortable. There's there's still not the same level of trust. There's still there's still prejudice, and there's still so many things that add to the lack of privilege. So I don't know how much of that answers your question.
No, it does, and that's an interest. Like you said, as long as they can see you can hang, and you're not putting them in the wrong key, especially you gonna sit on that organ, you better know what you're doing. You're not gonna come in here playing no Mary Had a Little Lamb with two fingers in this here church. You better know that thing.
These organists, they want to see what the voicings you choose are going to let them know where you've been at. Mm-hmm. You hear what he's doing? He ain't worked at the Kojic church before. That's the wrong voicing. If you were playing here, you gotta take this and go like this. Mm-hmm. They know where you're from by the choices you make musically in leadership. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've been very blessed that I've been able to be in some situations where I was surrounded by greats, both in the church and out of the church. And I've been very, very blessed that I was welcomed into a lot of musical spaces from a very young age. So a lot of the same stuff that I would have gotten if I was a young black musician, I was immersed with. Now, again, that's not the same thing as, from a personal example. I understand that doesn't negate some of the privileges that I have as a white guy, whether I'm navigating black spaces or white spaces. But from a purely musical perspective, I was blessed to be able to grow up in a lot of the same environments that gave me a lot of the same experiences.
Yes. You know what? And you had to have done a certain amount of work before that, before those people were going to take the time with you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you had to be already on your way to greatness. And that's what it takes. If somebody who is already great is going to break their stride, it's going to be for good reason. They're only going to teach you what they think you can absorb. Mm-hmm. I guess that's why I don't teach much, because I mean, what I excel at, a lot of drummers aren't interested in. I excel at being support cast. I know how to get a band to work together. You know what I mean? Like my skill set, it's a different thing. But Barbarella told me, he was playing one day, and I said, "Who taught you those voicings?" He said, "Oh man, that's from years of Fred Steele sticking his elbow in my chest, moving." Good
old Fred.
He said, "Fred would just what? No, you want to do this, huh?" And look at him like, right? See how this works? He kept getting the Fred Steele elbow in his chest until he figured out.
Where did those two work together?
And I understand why this makes better sense.
Where did Barbarella and Fred Steele work together? Because I didn't know they did.
When I met Barbarella, he was playing with the Steels.
Ah, I didn't know that.
When Prince hijacked Sonny, he hijacked Barbarella also. I beat them by a year. They came right after.
So for Maiya, who probably doesn't know, or she may, or if anybody else, the Steels is a famous gospel family in Minneapolis.
Oh, they sang all over Prince's records. She probably knows. They were in Graffiti Bridge. They were the choir, the four singers.
That's right. I didn't remember that. I do remember that Mavis Staples concert that with Sonny Superstar.
Yes. Hey. But no, they're also in The Sacrifice of Victor, in the movie we made of the Bagley's Warehouse game. She know who the Steels is.
My apologies for assuming. So Maiya also has the historic what's the word? Being the first person that can get Michael to stay here after 9 o'clock.
That's right, but I'm about to go because my barbecue done got cold.
Uh-oh. Maiya, I know you had some questions for Michael. Did you have anything else for him that you didn't cover?
No, I've enjoyed you both thoroughly. I feel like Again, I told you, Michael, you're my new best friend.
Well,
I feel like we've leveled up.
Okay. Yes. Well, you definitely you have things in your head that I want to know more about, and maybe me too.
I do.
Grand compliment, sir.
If you don't mind, Maiya, I'm looking for the comment. I did want to give a serious answer to Rob's question before. I know Michael didn't think he was serious, but I thought he was, and we never actually answered the question.
Oh,
diversity.
So I mean, Rob Lee, drop me an email at Maiya, Maiya, at beapossibility.com. And yeah, just drop me an email and I will get something to you.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to? I mean, we perfectly fine with shameless plugs. What else you got?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What do you need?
Shameless plug. So my goodness gracious, Maiya is on Facebook on Mondays on my business page, on the Be a Possibility business page. On Mondays, I do a little segment at 8:35 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I promise I know how to talk. It's called Monday Moment with Maiya. I do that on Mondays at 8:35 p.m., but the replays are always on my business page. And on Thursdays, I do, if you are on LinkedIn, I do, thank you, Callie, I love you. If you're on LinkedIn, I do a little series on Thursdays called Lunch on LinkedIn. It doesn't come out around lunchtime because usually I'm in meetings and things. So at some point on Thursday, I upload a video and it is on LinkedIn. And that is more corporate based and tips, motivation, current events, relating it back to navigating corporate spaces. If you just want to connect with me, beapossibility.com is where you can find me, beapossibility.com. Yeah. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay.
And I appreciate any questions. I'm always up for a chat. As y'all can tell, I'm not shy with the words.
Not at all.
So yeah.
Well,
and I appreciate this opportunity. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much.
As always, I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Well, right.
So, which hopefully we'll circle back around at some point and go deeper.
Sure.
But it's funny because we every week I feel like it's 2 hours and we barely cover but that's what happens when you have so many people with so many things to offer.
Yeah.
So definitely. What does this one say? Okay, navigating corporate spaces.
That's Tina. Tina's a mogul. She's amazing. CurvyFox.com. Y'all go check out Curvy Fox. I just so legit. Tina is amazing because she is one of the most beautiful spirits that I've ever met. And I've only recently met her maybe in the last year or so. See, I love her so much. See, I keep her cup on my desk and y'all see that. This is her business, CurvyFox.com. She's also a corporate American that has her, hey Diva, has her business that she's growing on the side and continues to expand and grow while navigating that corporate space, which is also, I mean, that can be a whole bootstrap conversation by itself. It's like bootstrapping is not mommy and daddy gave me $10,000 and I'm gonna go out here and try my luck at a business. It's I work a 9 to 5 and then I come home and work a 5 to 1 because I'm trying to build something, but I'm also funding it myself through my job and keeping that. But she's doing amazing things. She has some partnerships. She just had a partnership with Stella Rosa Wine and had a wine box that she curated and put out. So there are some amazing women in my circles who are doing things that inspire me. And so when you talk about buying Black, when you talk about, having examples, she's also somebody who will not hesitate to support you and give out information or give you, a helping hand, jump on the phone with you because she believes in giving back.
Tina, will you come on our show?
Yeah, she totally should.
It's funny. What I was just about to say is I hope what will happen is what happened with you, which is that during Tiffany's episode, some of her people, yourself included, became repeat viewers of the show and then ultimately became our guests. And so any of Maiya's people, this is what happens. This is how we broaden our circles. If you hopefully will come back and listen to us again next week, and then hopefully some of the people will be our guests down the road, because we love discovering new, interesting, brilliant people, and especially giving a voice to more and more Black excellence. It's just speaking of which, I don't think, let me see if she sent me a message. I don't think she's confirmed yet, but I believe next week we're going to be talking to a lawyer from Seattle who's going to give us some insight on both what's happening there as well as voter suppression from a legal standpoint. So
it's so happening. Curvyfox.com is Tina's site.
Is it spelled?
You don't have to be a speaker like Maiya. We welcome all people here. If you stop talking, one of us will start. It's all good. If you come on, we pick up the slack. If you leave any, we greedy like that. But we would certainly love to meet you and speak to you. You come highly recommended.
Absolutely. So thanks again, Maiya, for joining us. Like I said, we'll hopefully, Maiya's been a frequent. We see her in the comments every week too when she's not the guest. So if y'all liked Maiya, sure, even before hopefully we do another episode with her, you'll probably see her every week. So thank you so much, Maiya. Thank you also for bringing some stories out of Michael. If for no other reason, we have to have you back for that, because Michael don't always feel like talking, so we got him tonight too. We have two guests tonight.
Add her to the list of repeat guests, please.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As always, love you, Michael.
I love all of you.
And we will see you next week around the same time.
All right, then. Take care, Maiya. We'll be in touch. We're friends on Facebook now, so don't ignore me.
Of course. Not ever. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Here's from Todd. Need to hip our HR people to Maiya. Yeah.
Maiya at thepossibility.com. We'll consult for money.
Right.
Hey, Black women.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Well, I know Michael's ribs are getting cold, and I haven't had lunch yet. So, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
All right, now.